Some people think Colossians 1:15 teaches Christ to be the first created being. The verse reads, "Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature." But is that what this verse actually means? Let us look closely and carefully at the evidence. The word firstborn is a translation of the Greek prototokos, which appeared in Colossians 1:15 and 18. It can mean first in the sense of time, such as a firstborn child in Matthew 1:25 and Luke 2:7. First in the sense of rank, such as David, who was the youngest of all the sons of Jesse in 1 Samuel 16:10 and 11, and yet called firstborn by God, which means higher than the kings of the earth in Psalm 89:27. Or could be both if the context warrants it. However, Christ as first in the sense of time only makes sense in the context of birth, that is, being the firstborn child of Mary, but hardly in the context of creation, for it is clear throughout the scriptures that Christ is the creator and not a creation. Say for example when Paul wrote, "For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him." The plausible way then to understand Christ as prototokos is in the sense of rank, which means superior or preeminent. But does the context warrant it? Concerning the second time Paul used this word in Colossians was in relation to the dead. He said, "And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence." Does it mean Christ was first in the sense of time to be resurrected among the dead? This clearly is not the case though, for we find several instances both in the Old Testament and New Testament of people coming back to life from death prior to Christ's resurrection. What Paul really meant in using prototokos or firstborn along with other Greek descriptions for Christ such as kephale or head and arche or beginning, but could also mean chief depending on the context, is clear based on the last portion of Colossians 1:18, that in all things he might have the preeminence or prutio. Paul was not speaking of Christ's origin, but simply saying that Christ was preeminent or superior. This conclusion is contextually justified and perfectly makes sense too for Christ being the prototokos of every creature in Colossians 1:15. In that case, Christ is not first as created being, but first in the sense of a preeminence over all creation.